Hello everyone, this is Mark John. This is my stories channel, and today the topic will be how monks deal with boredom. If you're here for the first time, I'm going to share my experiences, my point of view about this topic. I have become a Buddhist monk for more than 10 years. And I think this is one of the questions that people ask me a lot. So this can also be useful for you as well, because usually there are some moments of our life that we have to deal with boredom. If you just arrived, you can share with me, okay, your name, where you're from, and if you can hear my voice clearly, you can also help type +1 so that I know that the voice is okay, there's no problem. And if you feel that this topic is going to be useful, it's going to be interesting for other people, you can also click like and share the topic so that your friends and maybe people who may be interested in the topic can also have a chance to listen to the talks as well. We're going to spend a moment on waiting for people to arrive, and after a bit shortly, when more people arrive, we are going to continue with the topic, how Buddhist monks deal with boredom. This is going to be based on my experience, okay? So for those of you who've been to regularly to the live, you know that you can always ask me questions, and I try to look at the screen so I know what you ask, or maybe you have some doubts, you have some comments. You can also share with me during the lives as well. If I cannot cover all the questions because time is up, I will continue, or maybe I will provide you some answer in the comments box, or maybe I will make separate videos, or we can even have a separated live discussions about the topic. Okay, so your questions does not have to be related to this alone, but it would be nice if we can have a related questions today. Okay, anything that you like to ask me about boredom, about how you deal with your life, you have to face challenges and there's nothing new coming up, this is also related to this topic. All right, so we're going to wait a few more minutes for people to arrive. If you arrive already, again, please share with me where you are from, your names and your country. And if you have any questions at this moment, you can also put the questions in the comments box. And I try to look at your questions so I know your doubts beforehand. Of course, I have some preparations on the topic. So we are going to spend time elaborating. First, do monks feel boredom at all? Do monks, am I feel bored? The answer is yes. I also have boredom in my monk's life. It doesn't mean that ever since I become a monk, I never been feeling bored at all. I've been feeling bored many times over, but lately, no. So I can share with you how I have been doing in order to overcome my boredom. All right. So if you arrive already, don't forget to share your name, what country you're from, and also share this live with your friends. And you can also click reactions on Facebook Live as well. So today, this topic, how monks deal with boredom, you can just change the word monks to how people deal with boredom, because I'm going to elaborate some general reasons why people feel bored in whatever you're doing in their life generally. So let me check the screen a little bit more So I know many of you have arrived already. Okay, we have a little technical difficulty, so I just have to fix something. If you hear my voice properly, you can share with me, okay? I'm not really sure if the voice was proper, but I hope so. The machine just crashed, and this is exciting, no? Okay, so we have a few people already. If you just arrived again, share with me where you are from. Okay, we have Joey from Singapore and also Owen from Congo, right? Welcome, Joey. Welcome, Owen. Thank you for joining today. And we're going to begin the topic very soon. Just wait a little for people to arrive. All right, so let me begin. Okay, let me begin with the topic itself. If any one of you ever have this question before, do monks feel bored at all? The answer is probably yes. Because I'm not sure if you ever learned about a monk's life at all. We make a separate video about that. If you go to the My Stories group or My Story page, you will see a video. It's called A Monk's Life, and that shows how I've been doing over the last 10 years as a monk. I didn't actually say it in the video that I felt bored during my monk's life. So the answer, my personal answer to this question is yes, I felt bored. But let me share some reasons or maybe some story. I wasn't born as a Buddhist monk, so I had my previous life just like every one of you. I was studying computers and I never thought about being a monk at all. So when I ordained, during the ordination program, people, especially the program, took away everything from me. It means that I could not wear what I used to wear. I could not do anything what I used to do. I could not have my hairstyle the way I used to have. I could not use computers for many weeks. I could not use mobile phone at all for many weeks. And I could not eat what I wanted to eat. I could not go where I wanted to go. These may sound like a lot of restrictions, yes. As a result, at that particular moment, I haven't transformed myself as a Buddhist monk. Deep down in my feeling, I was still Mr. John and not Monk John. And when I had to stay in this environment of being a monk, and every day they asked me to do everything strictly, every single day, for weeks, for months, started to feel a little bit uncomfortable. And at some point, I started to feel bored. So here are several reasons why monks could feel bored. First, it is about changing environment, okay? Environment, changing environment. But the habits stays. Even though you try to change the way you live your life, but it doesn't mean that you could completely change your habits. My habits of the previous life still continue coming back to me every single day. So every day when I woke up, I thought to myself, am I a monk or what I had to do? And at that time, I thought to myself that I had to do this, I had to do that. In my dream, I was still dreaming myself as a normal person. So when I realized that I had to behave as a monk, even though the environment was changing, but my old habits die hard. As a result, that frustrations, if you keep having them every day, started to feel bored. And second, a lot of restriction. I'm not sure if you know that as a Buddhist monk, I have to keep at least 227 rules, at least, okay? These are called the main rules, but there are also many other minor rules. And each temple also have their own regulations as well. So a lot of restrictions. I wanted to do this, but I could not do that. As a result, I started to feel a little bit upset, and that led to boredom. Okay, I wanted to do that, but I could not do it at all. Think about like hairstyle, right? Think about yourself. How many days could you stay with the same hairstyle without feeling bored? Can you wear your hair with the same hairstyle like many years? Can you do that? Or will you feel like, okay, this week I wanted to have my hair short. Next week I wanted to have my hair long. Maybe next month I wanted to have my hair in different colors. Think about yourself, right? Or, okay, if you always have the same hairstyle, let's talk about clothing. Do you always remain in the same clothing 7 days, 24 hours a day? Do you always remain with the same color without changing at all? Look at me. I have been in this robe for many years. And during the past 10 years, there is no other choice. So this is also another reason people ask me a lot. Have you ever felt bored at all of not being able to choose different outfit? You don't have any choices. Can you go blue? Can you wear green? And the answer is no, I cannot. Because this is the restrictions that has been together with monkhood for at least 2,600 years. So if people knew that this is my life, this is my everyday activities, they started to ask these questions. Have you ever felt bored? You don't have any choices. Of course, food. I don't get to choose my own food. And whatever you offer me, I have to eat them. So people ask me, then do you feel bored of the same food, or maybe not being able to choose what you like? And the answer is, at the beginning, yes, because I always had my freedom to choose whatever I wanted to eat. I always have freedom to go where I wanted to go, and those freedoms kind of taken away at all. There is no other like pause or time out that, okay, you become a monk for just 6 days a week, and then you take a time off and not being a monk for 1 day. This is not possible at all for me, or at least in my country, because being a monk is a full-time job. What else? Food, clothing, hairstyle. So this is the second reason, restriction, okay? And the third reason, okay, we still have problems in our life. Even though I'm a Buddhist monk, but it doesn't mean that I have no problem in my life at all. I still have problems like like normal people, if you consider me not being a normal people. Yes, there are problems that we have to face. It doesn't mean that I have no conflict with other people around me or with fellow monks. We do have conflicts. This is very normal because we are human beings and we are not perfect. So having problem to face it, and you have no way to escape, you have to face them. And our temple, we keep meeting the same group of people of course, with the same monks and the same things that we have to do together every day. Once you have to face all those challenges, then you can feel bored, right? And number 4, there are a lot of distractions. How? Well, of course, in the temple, there is not many distractions in the temple. However, when people come to the temple, they also bring with them their stories, their experiences. They talk about their life, especially my friends who came and visited me in my temple. They talk about how the world is going. They talk, okay, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. And there are a lot of opportunities for you. Why don't you take it? Something like that. So these kind of distractions kept disturbing as well, because as a monk, I cannot do a lot of things that I used to do before. So these are 4 main reasons why monks could feel bored. I'm not sure if there are any monks watching at the moment. If there are any monks watching me live at the moment, you can also suggest your personal reason, or maybe some of these are not complete, you want to add something to the list, please share with me, okay? All right, so thank you so much for joining us today. And we have Joey from Singapore, right? We have Owen from Congo. If anyone just arrived, please share with me your name, and also if you have any questions, don't hesitate to type them in the box so I can see them later on. Your questions doesn't have to be related to this topic alone. It could be any questions. However, if this is related to this topic, it would be nice because I can use my time to elaborate on the topic and on your questions more. All right, so these are 4 main reasons on how Buddhist monks can feel bored. So today we also have people from different countries attending in the studios as well. We have Farid from Colombia, we have Varali from Bolivia, and we have Racha from Sudan, and we have Nari from Cambodia. So maybe you guys have some questions as well. You can also send any questions to me, okay? All right, so, and we have Agnia from Latvia as well. I think Agnia just attended a conference with Dalai Lama. I'm not sure if those lamas also talk about these topics as well. Or maybe they never felt bored at all in their lama's life, I don't know, but I'm telling you the truth that initially in my monkhood, I felt really bored at some point, okay? Then, from the 4 reasons that I share with you, from the 4 reasons how monks could possibly feel bored, right? The first one is because we just came from the previous life and our habits still remained. The second one is there was the restrictions of what we cannot do. As a normal people, we could do it, but as a monk, we could not do it anymore. And the third thing is we still have problems in our life and we have to face them. It's not like, okay, this life will be a very beautiful road with rose petals. That is going to be too good to be true, right? And the last one is there are a lot of distractions and how people share with you the experiences of something that they could do and you could not do anymore. So those distractions can also make you feel bored of the monkhood. Okay, so I just like to add here about some reasons why people feel bored. Okay, there are few reasons why people feel bored in their life and in whatever they're doing. So the first thing is they don't know the purpose of what they're doing. The purpose of what they are doing is not clear. I think recently people are talking a lot about football, I guess, right? There is an event, World Cup football happening in Russia. So initially we were going to have like a meditation session in Russia, but it got canceled because it's just going to happen at the same time as the World Cup competition. So it's probably not going to be very easy just to have two events, something like that at the same time. So suppose that you play football, okay, and you're going to have a competition. If the competition is just going to be a friendly or an exhibition competition, then you are not going to feel much excited on how you play football. But if your competition is going to be for something big, like World Cup competition, then when you are in the match, you might be feeling more excited on how you're going to win the match, and every kick or every shot that you make is going to be very, very meaningful, right? So this is about how we have a purpose of what we were doing. And this is also another reason why I got bored, because I didn't understand many things, why I had to do this or why I could not do that as a monk. So without understanding the purpose, without knowing the benefits of what you're doing, you can feel bored. Like, think about yourself. If you are doing your job just for money, but you don't enjoy doing it, maybe one day you're going to feel very, very, very bored in what you're doing, and you consider changing your job to something that you really like or something which is about your dream, right? So this is very, very important, the purpose of what you're doing. If you understand clearly, then a chance of you feeling bored will be much less, okay? That's the first thing. And the second thing, whatever you're doing at the moment doesn't give you fulfillment. Maybe this could be something that related to your dream, or you really wanted to do it for a long time. However, once you start doing it, maybe you felt like this is not you. This is not what you thought it was going to be. For example, as a monk, I thought that a monk's life will be something very, very comfortable, or like monks can all chill out the whole time and they could meditate and there's no problems, a lot of easy things to do, no restrictions, very simple or something like that. But what I faced on the very first day, a lot of rules, a lot of restrictions. People keep telling us the whole time, okay, this is something you can't do, this is something that you can't do. So that came a lot of uncomfortable feeling that, oh, maybe this is something that not for me. I still remember the first night when I joined the monkhood. I shared with many people this story already, but I'm going to share it again. I remember that my life was pretty comfortable, the previous life. And when I joined the monkhood, they asked me to sleep with many people in the same room, because it's the training program, so they train you to be more patient, they train you to have more empathy. So the best way is just to keep you with so many people together. And in my room, in my batch, we have about 30 people sleeping together. And you can't imagine in the night what the sound is going to be. It's like symphony orchestra with a lot of, like snoring. I could not think of any other word. Snoring, yes. And once I woke up in the night, that was because the room was too warm, too hot. It's in the summer of Thailand, and summer of Thailand is in April, and the temperature in the night could be about more than 30 degrees, and of course there are a lot of insects, especially the most dangerous one, mosquitoes. And I was bitten by many mosquitoes because I didn't know how to sleep in a net. They gave me a net, but I never slept in a net before. So my first night was very, very long, kind of the longest night ever. I couldn't sleep at all. I woke up in the night. I could not sleep again because people were snoring. Sorry, guys. So it was very hard, and the next night I was going to tell my mentors that I was going to quit, because then it actually made me feel happy. I thought about quitting several times in the night, but when I look at people's faces once I woke up, I was surprised how they could be happy. Most of them, I would say 99.9%, except me. So it was just me alone. So I just cannot blame that the reasons that I was not happy is because the activities they provided. Maybe the reasons I was not happy was just me, myself, doesn't feel fulfilled alone. That actually brought me some thoughts, and I was thinking a lot about this. Like, okay, if these simple obstacles, you can't feel happy, how could you actually feel happy when you have to face reality in the future? Because in the future, I might have to face something tough if I would go to live somewhere in the world. It's not going to be as easy as in my home country. So thinking about this, I decided to continue. Even though it was not easy at all, I decided to continue and start changing myself. And that works. Eventually, I started to feel fulfillment from monkhood. Some, I think, from the third or the fourth week already. So the first 3 weeks was very, very frustrating for me. All right. And number 3, mind distracted easily. This is the nature of the mind, that our mind keeps thinking a lot. And every day, our mind keeps shifting between thoughts very easily. So sometimes in an hour, you could possibly think about 100 different things, but without any conclusion. So you can move from the first thought to the second thought, to the third one, to the fourth one, coming back to the first one again. And in reality, we have many things to do at all. And we can't just stay focused on what we have to do. Maybe we keep thinking about what we want to do the whole time. As a result, you might feel a little bit bored of what you're doing because your mind keeps being distracted, tempted to think about what you really want to do, which sometimes you spend like 80% or 90% of your time just thinking alone about what you want to do in the future. So your mind is in the future, or maybe about some mistakes in the past. So your mind is in the past, and you can't really focus yourself in the present. You get bored of what you're doing in the present very easily, and this is a very, very common reason why people feel bored of what they're doing. Okay. Number 4. You don't know that who you are doing it for. This is very similar to the first one, but with some different perspective. Because normally, we thought about doing something great. We all wanted to change. We all wanted to see something pleasant, something nice. So we try to change ourselves. We try to do something good, but we don't really know that we are changing ourselves because of ourselves. Sometimes we try to change ourselves because we wanted others to be happy. We wanted to please others. We wanted to do this for community, for people, for the whole world. And we forgot that if we are doing it, changing for ourselves, we understand the value of it. We understand that even though changing is not easy, when you change for others and people do not appreciate what you're doing for them, or maybe people do not see the values of what you're doing, then when they return some words to you and they don't see the value at all, you started to feel very uncomfortable and maybe you feel bored. So this is another reason why if you're doing something good and you can't continue doing it because you felt a little bit betrayed, if I can use that word, or maybe upset of how people think about what you're doing at the moment. So if we can change and we're doing everything, not for others, but for yourself alone, then this can be the real change. And you will be doing what you're doing, not because of others, but you'll be what you're doing because of yourself. For example, when I ordained as a monk, I did it because of my mom. And she asked me several times to ordain as a Buddhist monk because she knew that this kind of training is going to be good for me. I'm much more patient and I'm much more loving. I have a lot of compassion compared to before I became a monk. In my previous life, I got upset very easily, I got frustrated very easily, I got annoyed, and I didn't feel happy, I didn't smile a lot. So she knew that this was going to be good for me, so she asked me to do it, and I did it for her. And that was kind of a reason I got frustrated at some point, because it was challenging, to be very honest. At some point, being a monk is not very easy. It's not like, and there is a song, right? Being a Superman is not easy. I could imagine being a Superman. You have to help others, but you don't have much time for yourself and not much time for doing something that you wanted to do. At some point, I also faced that feeling, and I felt a little bit bored because I asked myself, why am I doing this? People do appreciate what I'm doing, but once I changed the perspective and I thought that I would do this for myself. I'm not doing it for anyone. Even though I teach other people, I'm doing it for myself. So once I could think about it this way, what other people will take it, or maybe will feel towards what I'm doing, is not going to be giving any impact on how happy I would feel from what I'm doing. So number 4, okay, and number 5 is there is no role model. Our life is very unique. Every human on the planet, we are not walking the same road. We have different paths. We have slightly different destination, and along the way, our life will be different. But even though our life is different, or maybe because of that, whenever we walk on our path, we feel a little bit insecure. We don't actually know if we are doing something correct because we know that we can't take back our time. So sometimes we are afraid of moving forward because we are not sure that if we made these mistakes, then we're going to waste perhaps 10 years or 20 years. I had that feelings as well. Why? Because when I continue my training as a Buddhist monk, and that is perhaps like during the very first months that I decided to stay on, there were a lot of thoughts coming to me that what if? Usually the thoughts come with what if. What if you remain as a monk, but this is not the right thing, or maybe it's not the best just to do it for longer? You're going to waste your time, and this time you could it could be used for doing something else. So I had that thought several times, and that kind of disturbed me a lot. It made me distracted and feel bored in what I was doing or my monk's life at the moment. Okay, so these are general reasons why people feel bored in what they're doing. It's not only about being a Buddhist monk. First, the purpose of what they're doing is not clear. Second, they didn't feel fulfilled or happy or content in what they're doing, maybe because of problems, some different reasons. And the mind got distracted very easily. People hardly train their mind. They train the body. They want the body to be strong, but they don't actually take care of the mind a lot. If any day you wake up and you could think about 100 different things, but you can't find any conclusions, this is also the time you know yourself that your mind hasn't been trained properly. Or if any day you wake up and the whole day you cannot think about something positive at all, you could think about something was distraction, something negative, that is when you know that your mind hasn't been trained for a while. Okay, and you don't know that who are you doing this for, or what you're doing, who are going to get benefits. Maybe you thought you're doing for somebody else, but once they didn't feel appreciated what you're doing, then you feel bored. Or you don't have any role model of walking the path, because you are afraid that if you make any mistakes, then it's going to take you and you have to sacrifice maybe 5 years, 10 years. So these are some reasons. Any other suggestions? Okay, so let me check on the comments on the live. Okay, we have Owen, we have CK Lee. I'm not sure where you're from, but you missed the point 3 and 4. The mind distracted. Okay, I just cover it, right? That because our mind has never been trained, so it keeps moving to what we wanted to do, but it doesn't stay with what we have to do. Because in our life there are things that we have to do and things that we want to do. But our mind usually is going to be distracted, and we are tempted just to think about things that we wanted to do, not things that we have to do. And you are getting bored of things that you have to do very easily. And if you don't know that you are doing something for yourself, and you thought, okay, I do something for others, but they don't appreciate you, eventually you lose the motivation. You feel bored very easily. Okay. And then a question from Agneer. What if you got inspired by others to change yourself? It is okay then. Well, it is okay because eventually we need to get inspiration. We need to get motivation from people around us. However, once you start walking on the path, once you start, the motivation is not just like, okay, you have to move forward. You have to do it. But you have to do it on your own. You can't expect that your role model is going to walk with you the whole time. So that's the point. People usually expect that, like people whom they feel admired will always be with them. Well, that would be nice if you can be with your role model the whole time, but eventually we have time that we have to stay alone, and time that we have to face all the challenges, all the difficulties alone. There's no way that you can be with your role model, people who inspire you the whole time. Okay? And from Farid, how being bored can help you observe your own mind. Okay, so then we are going to talk about the topic today, how Buddhist monks deals with boredom. Actually, being bored, even though it might be very, very lonely feeling, but we can use it to make ourselves stronger. Why? Because you are facing your life, your problems, and you have to move forward. So once you started to feel bored in what you are doing, it doesn't mean that you made any mistakes. Maybe it also means that what you're doing is not the right thing, and the real thing is yet to emerge. So to answer your questions, Farid, and Farid is here, this can also be a good indicator sometimes. It doesn't mean that all boredoms are bad, but sometimes we can tell ourselves that what we are doing is not the right thing, or what we are doing is not the thing that we're supposed to do. Supposed to take our time. For example, if you were pursue your career path on being someone who works in an office, but you really like to be an artist, or maybe to be a musician, for example. So your mind keeps thinking about your dream of being a musician the whole time. But you have to do your job and everything because you need to sustain yourself for a living. My suggestion is you start exploring your dream and pay attention to it. Of course, you still have to continue your previous work because otherwise you don't have money to sustain your life. But what if you can make your dream, you can make some money from it. You can start working on your dream and start earning from it. Eventually, the two things could be as one. Okay, so something that you have to do for your finance, something that you have to do for as your dream, something that you're really good at, and something that you can do for benefits of others. So these four things, if they can be one, that would be the best. Again, something that is your dream that you always wanted to do. Second, something that you have to do because this is related to your finance. And third, something that you're really good at, your skill. And the fourth one is something that when you do, it gives benefits to others, maybe to yourself and to the whole world, to community. So all of these four, usually they are different. But what if you can make it as one? And this is what we Buddhist monks do. Okay? So, how Buddhist monks deal with boredom? First, we understand about the purpose of monk's life. There was a story of a monk that got pretty frustrated on how many rules he had to remember. He couldn't even remember all of them or many of them. So he got frustrated. He went to the Buddha to ask the Buddha permissions to resign or to quit being a monk or to disrobe. And the Buddha asked, why do you want to disrobe? He said, Well, because there's so many rules and I feel very frustrated. I don't even remember them. Then the Buddha asks, what if I give you only one rule to follow? Can you follow that one single rule? And he smiled, wow, if this is just one rule, I could follow them. So what is the rule about? The Buddha replied, all you have to do is just to keep your mind pure and clear the whole time. Anything that you do that will cloud and contaminate your mind, don't do them. Anything that you do and make you feel happy, do them. Can you do that? And his answer was, of course, yes, because it's easier, much easier than other monks. It doesn't mean that the Buddha gave all the monks the same thing, but this monk, he gave very, very special practice. So just one rule for him alone, okay? And after that, he started to realize that his mind was being maintained and it was pure the whole time. So he started to understand the purpose of being a monk and the purpose of the practice. Eventually, he also attained enlightenment. Me, myself, the same. I didn't understand why there were so many rules. It's like I was put in a box like this. And I cannot go anywhere. I cannot go to the left. I cannot go to the right. I cannot escape. It was so frustrating that the box was too small and it was too close. You stay like in a coffin. But eventually I started to understand that the box is the defense. So I think people in the world, these days we are exposed too much with a lot of threats from outside, right? Maybe most of us do not consider them as a threat or danger, but in fact, they really affected on our way of living. For example, these days, Apple, they started to implement a software that will control how you use your time on mobile phone. So from iOS 12, you will be able to see how much time that you spend on an app. And there are lists, okay, maybe you spend too much time on Facebook or too much time on gaming. Maybe you can reduce, and there's even an alert telling you that if you spend too much time on this, perhaps you should reduce, perhaps you should avoid. And so these are examples of how these days we are exposed to a lot of danger, and this danger is really to the mind, maybe not to the body, not to something that you can see, but this is something that you can't see, but you can feel it, right? So the purpose of a lot of rules is my own personal shield, my own armor, my own defense. And once I started to realize, I went to meditate alone, not alone, but in a secluded place with a lot of monks. So at that point, I realized how important following the rules and understand why I had to do it. And that also made me feel a bit happier. Okay, it's not like completely happy at instantaneous moment, but much happier at the time. And second, how we do it is, second, find more knowledge. Find more knowledge. Why is that? Because most people, they still have some doubts in whatever they're doing. And this can also be related to what I share, how boredoms can be something good as well, because maybe we don't actually know that what we're doing at the moment is the right thing, or is something that we're doing for years or for the rest of our life or not. But once we search for more knowledge, when we start finding something we will turn from the one who doesn't know anything to the one who knows more. Okay? And that helps a lot because you understand more the purpose of what you're doing. You understand more the benefits on what you're doing at the moment. It is like when you are in a dark room and you don't see anything, there's no light at all. Can you stay in that dark room for long without feeling bored? Possibly not, right? You can try tonight. Okay, if you don't believe me, you can try. Stay in a dark room where you don't see anything at all, alone. Soon enough, you're going to feel very, very frustrated because there's no light, you don't see anything. So finding your knowledge, more knowledge, means that you are working on yourself, so you know more. And knowledge is the light. It helps us to see clearly our life and understand everything around us, everything that we're doing, the benefits and why we're doing it, and how we're going to improve. Okay? If you're doing something and you're doing it well, you will keep doing it. Let me share with you. This is something, if people ask me, what did you miss the most that you became a Buddhist monk? Okay? What did you miss the most once you became a Buddhist monk? What I missed the most, especially during the first few years, 2 years, or maybe 1 year, was to play piano. Because I play piano, I really like music, and I was once a piano teacher as well, and I really like how I could play whenever I feel bored. But maybe you also have another following questions like, okay, but can't monks play piano? The answer is not in my country, because in my country people do have expectation that monks will devote their time like 100% on meditation, on teaching themselves and teaching others, and they don't expect to see monks doing something else that they see what people in the world will do. So not in my country. And even though I like playing piano, I didn't actually I didn't get to the point when I could, perform in a competition, or maybe I have a concert on my own. I just did it on my own pleasure. There was a point in my life before becoming a monk that I feel a little bit bored of playing music. If you never feel bored of something, you can enjoy doing it 24/7, right? It's like if you like playing games and you really like this game so much, then you can stay with the game 24 hours, 7 days a week. But there was some point that I didn't enjoy playing pianos as well. That's because I didn't practice, I didn't improve. There were some songs, I play classical music, and some song was extremely difficult. Even though I like that song so much, but I can't play that song. Chopin, Debussy, or Liszt songs were extremely difficult. I could not play any of them. Some of the songs from Beethoven or Mozart were easier for me, but I didn't practice, and I had so many projects in my life. I worked with computers. I started to do something else. I worked with some drawings. I like drawings as well. So there were so many options for me to choose from. I didn't stay with the music the whole time. I didn't improve myself. So once you find more knowledge and practice more, you feel less bored of what you're doing. Okay. And number three, how Buddhist monk deal with boredom. Number 3, meditation. I once had a chance to ask my master. At that time, I started to feel a little bit inspired of staying on, but I didn't know how long I would stay. So I asked him, what do I have to do in order to stay as a monk for long? When I asked him for long, it doesn't mean forever, but maybe longer than I expected. And his answer was very simple: meditation. At that time, I didn't understand completely why meditating would help me to deal with boredom. But once I started to meditate, I started to feel that my mind started to stay very calm and not distracted very easily. The thing is that in our life, as we keep walking, we are going to face problems for sure. Problems. And these problems, there are 2 types. Problem that you can solve, and problem that you cannot solve anyway. So problems that you can solve, you keep solving them and they're going to be fine. But some problems that are staying with you for years, some problems have been staying with you for 10 years, for a decade, for a few decades. You can't solve them. You're going to feel very bored of having them around. So if any road you're walking, there's a big problem lying ahead, and you can't actually solve them. It is with you the whole time. Eventually, you're not going to walk this road anymore. So how can meditation help? Because this may be related to the other item, not this one, right? That's because even though the problems that you're facing is so big, so challenging, but if you meditate, you deal with them with peace and joy. You don't actually feel very frustrated. It's not like in the past. In the past, I remember that sometime in my life I had so many roads that I can walk. This is road A, road B, and road C. So I could walk here. Maybe I would become a musician. And this is B. I will become a programmer. And this is C. I would become a photographer. I also like photographies as well. But every road that I walk, there always be some challenges that I had to overcome, like music. What I told you, I could not play some pieces. I got bored because I wanted to play new songs. And there were some songs that I could play very well, but at some point you started to feel like, okay, you have to upgrade yourself. You wanted to play new song. But since I had so many options, I eventually switched to the other options, like to do some programming. But of course, there are some problems so difficult to solve. I didn't know how to solve them. There are a lot of bugs that are still remaining in the systems, and I don't know how to fix them. People keep sending, hey, we cannot log on, we cannot change the password, we cannot do this and that. And the problems stay for months and sometimes for years. So maybe you do something else. Taking photos. But then once you take photos and your photos do not get enough recognitions, you try to post on your Instagram, but people don't click like for you. Maybe you start comparing with other people. Okay, those pictures, they have more likes than mine. What is wrong? Maybe my picture is not beautiful enough, or I have to use some other filters. So once you keep switching between different options that you have in your life, you're going to feel super, super bored in what you're doing. So this is how meditation is very, very good help, because first, it helps you to stay more focused. Or even though you still have different paths to choose to walk on, you're not going to switch them very much. And you are going to face the problems that is lying ahead of you with peace and joy. So this is how meditation helps me a lot. Okay, if I didn't meditate as a monk, I wouldn't make even 1 year. And fourth, time. If we really understand the value of time, you're not going to feel very bored of your life. Maybe today that you're watching me on Saturday, if you didn't know what to do, or you were thinking, or you were not sure of if you should do this or do that, you can think about it as you, or assume that you're going to live 1 week more. If you can think about yourself that, okay, life is short, but how short? Because we don't actually know when we're going to die, right? So most of us are a little bit careless on this point. And we thought that maybe it's going to be many years from now, but not today, of course. But what if you can tell yourself, or you should tell yourself that, live your life as if you are not going to have tomorrow, or maybe you have tomorrow for sure, but it's going to be for 7 days more. Then whatever you have, your dreams or problems or some challenges that you keep hiding them away or trying to escape from them, you're going to face them, you're going to finish them, you're going to solve all of them as if you never had them before you leave the world, right? So if you understand the value of time, like in soccer, in football, for example, if you can compete football for many hours without feeling tired, then eventually you started to lose the motivation, right? Why am I kicking this ball? And just one ball in the middle of the field, and everyone has to take the ball from me. So if that's why they put restriction on time. Of course, you're going to feel too tired, but you're not going to compete forever as well, right? You know that, okay, you have only 90 minutes. And maybe after the first half, you started to put your all into the competition already. It's the same, okay? And number 5, so how Buddhist monks deal with the time. We actually, every day we contemplate that death can come at any time, and we can die. We are not sure if we are going to have tomorrow, and we have to use our time very wisely on everything that we have to do. We have to contemplate, okay, what we are doing at the moment and what we have to do. Something that we have to chant every day, have to remind ourselves every day. And number 5, change for yourself, or doing something good, okay, or doing good things for yourself. Good for yourself. As I mentioned earlier, that if people ask me, now you are teaching, you're spending your time, what are you doing this for? My answer is clear. I'm doing this for myself. And this is the answer that I read from a book of my master of the master. She's a nun. And when the great master asked her, why are you doing this for? Why are you meditating? Why are you helping people? Why do you teach them? She said she did this for herself. I didn't understand until almost 10 years. I started to realize that the best of walking your path is for yourself alone. You don't actually expect anyone to walk with you. You do not expect that you are carrying anyone on your shoulders. You do not expect that no one is going to follow you. You are not going to expect that people will not appreciate on your path. But you're doing this for yourself, and you know the value of having it in your life. So if you do this for yourself, if you change for yourself, if you're doing something good for yourself, as we monks, most of us, we think about it this way. We become a monk because we wanted to be, to enlighten, to be the better version of ourselves every day. Today we are a monk, and tomorrow we are a monk, and that's it. And we are doing this for ourselves, not for our masters, not for humanity. But of course, when we teach, we have more knowledge. When we teach, we sacrifice our greediness or our laziness. Otherwise, I will be more comfortable lying down or sleeping somewhere, right? I didn't actually have to prepare. I just can have more hours of sleep. But I have less hours of sleep. I know I'm doing this for myself. And number 6, role model and inspiration. Again, if you actually never had any role model, you're not sure that the path that you are walking at the moment will lead you to success. We monks are the same. If we, actually my master told me that monks, we have to stay together because we can look at each other, how we perform. And if we live alone, if we never actually have any contact with other monks at all, we might feel a little bit lost some point where things are not going the way we expected. So having role model, at least you know that people who walk this path before has been successful of doing this for themselves. They have been successful of being happy with meditation. Inner peace to exist. Something can be found inside, and people have proved it. Many people have proved it. So once we have a role model to confirm that the path we are walking is a proper one, and it is not going to be something that makes us feel regretful later on, when we feel confident and we don't feel bored very easily. So these are 6 things that Buddhist monks do in order to cope with boredom. Again, number 1, have a clear purpose of what we are doing, of our monkhood. Number 2, we keep getting more knowledge the whole time. It is like you light on or switch on the light in your room. Once your room is bright, then you see everything. You have clarity of what you're doing. And number 3 is you have meditation and inner peace with you. Once you started to have to face challenges, you don't feel lost and you don't feel discouraged, because some problems are not very easy to solve, and it might take like 10 or 20 years to solve them, or maybe not now. And number 4, understand the value of time. And number 5, to change, to do everything for yourself. Don't expect anyone to be pleased from what you're doing. And number 6 is, if you have a role model, how people have been successful in doing what you're doing at the moment, then you feel more confident. And when you feel lost, you can motivate yourself that if other people can do it, you can do it too. Okay, so these are something that I'd like to share with you. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Don't hesitate and just ask your questions. Just type in the comments, or do you have any questions, Guy? We have some visitors to the studio as well. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Farid?
How important is the realization of
Okay, I think this is related to the dimension of time because um, eventually Farid's questions is very good. He asks whether the realization of impermanence will add value to the understanding of limitation of time. We thought that our opportunity is going to last forever sometimes. We thought that what we're doing at the moment, our job is going to be super secure, or even our motivation will last forever. But in reality, everything can change. And people didn't feel aware that they are living in the world that is governed with the law of the nature. One law is everything is impermanent. Your opportunity, your motivation, or even your dream can also be changing the whole time. Once we realize that things that we're doing, or even our motivation, or even the boredom can come at any time, and nothing is permanent, we will be able to understand the value of time, and also don't feel very careless. We will not just spend our time on doing nothing, or maybe we will consider practicing more meditation in order to cope with a lot of distractions as well. So definitely, this is how realization of impermanence will help you understand the dimension of time, and you feel less bored. So if any of you have more questions, you can put in the box. But otherwise, you can also suggest any topic that that we should cover in our life, maybe next time. If you have any suggestions, you can put in the box. Okay, next time I'd like to listen to this. And maybe next time we're going to make it a little bit more interactive, like question and answers. So you prepare your questions, okay? And we are going to maybe have like some of the questions that you asked from this week, and some questions you can ask in the live programs as well. And next week on the 30th, we are going to have workshop at the WPI office. You don't know where this is located. It is in Thailand. So if you are in Thailand, or if you are going to be in Thailand next week, you're invited to come to the WPI office or the Bible House. It's a headquarters, and there are some international people here, and we are going to have interactive sessions. And the sessions is called How Meditation Helps You Balance Between Personal Well-Being and Professional Growth. Again, how meditation helps you find the balance between personal well-being and professional growth. So if you are interested in the topic, you can, or you are invited to come to join our live sessions. It's like face-to-face, okay, at the WPI office or the Bible House. You can find the information in from the website wpifoundation.org, and there is a form that you can fill in for the visit. Okay, just I think it's in the contact us page. Our staff will post the link for you. Okay, if you're interested or you're in Thailand, please join us on the live sessions, face-to-face sessions. Okay, and please also share this video for those who maybe they are not available today, and if you know that some of your friends could be interested in the topic, you can also share this video with them. Okay, and that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining the sessions, and I hope you learned something from examples and from the points that I share with you today. The first is, do monks feel bored? And yes, we do, or maybe yes, we did, or I did myself. and I explained how people could feel bored and different reasons, and how Buddhist monks deal with their boredom in the end. Okay, if you don't remember, you can also take a look again from the video, and our staff will also post some brief summary of what I shared today in the comments as well. Thank you very much, and see you again next week in the My Stories. And this is Monk John. You can also check out other videos in the channel, and there is also a YouTube channel. You can visit there as well. For those who doesn't want to scroll down to the lower sections of the page, this is like forever just to find one video. We post them on YouTube as well. Okay, so thank you very much, and see you again next time. Goodbye.